Hello, hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Outspoken Podcast.
We have some very, very special guests here today.
Yeah, we're so excited. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, so I'll just have each of you take a second and introduce yourselves. So, Rylie, you can start.
I'll start. I'm Hunter's sister, and how old am I?
20.
I think you're 27.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like I stopped counting after
Yeah.
22
I do too.
or something.
27 sounds good.
Yeah.
But I have 2 little kids, and I'm married to Spencer, and I'm doing school part-time and working at the podcast studio. So, yeah.
Fun. Love it. Okay,
Hey.
Amie.
She's the best sister in the world.
Yes, she
Thank
is.
you. No.
I'm Amie Steele, and I am lucky enough to be Hunter and Riley's mom. So they're great kids and so cute. And so I have 3 kids, these 2 and one other one, and I teach school at Juab High School. So I teach special education at the high school, and I love that.
So it's a little family reunion here today.
Oh, yeah. First
And
of
I,
many.
I will claim Jake, too. He fits right in
Aw.
with the family. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll get back into like why we have them here, what we're going to be talking about. But first, we're going to do our new segment, Weekly Rants. Amie, you can go ahead and give your
Okay.
weekly rants.
Okay. This was really hard. I feel like Rylie and I both had a hard time with this because we're mostly positive people. So it was hard to come up with something. But I have a dumb little weekly rant. So at our house, we love these energy drinks. They're called Alani. If you haven't tried them, you need to.
They're amazing.
They're so good.
They have me hooked.
Yeah. I quit soda, but I drink an Alani every day. So, and we buy the cases at Costco. And I think there's like the grape one, a cherry one, and a peach one. Well, nobody likes the peach ones. And so I always say that everyone has to do their due diligence. You can have one other flavor, but then you have to drink a peach one. And so today I went out to get one, and there was the box, and there was like 8 peach ones, and that was it. So obviously the family isn't doing their due diligence. So
It's so
there's
funny
my little
because
rant.
every time I go, I just grab a peach because I
Yeah,
actually
you can
like
have all the
peach.
peach.
But they're always like, "Thanks, Jake."
I know.
Drinking the peach. It's so funny. Okay, I'll go. Okay, so I didn't really have one either, but I was just looking down at my Stanley, and today I noticed that it is like literally so disgusting. Like the straw gets so dirty and
Yes.
gross, and I literally cleaned it like last week. I'm like, we
Yeah.
have to have a better way to have them stay clean. I don't
Yes,
know.
I agree.
Totally.
So yeah, that's my rant for this week.
Love it. Rylie, what's on
Okay.
your mind, girl?
Potty training.
Oh,
It's hard. So Harvey's 3, and he's potty trained. It's great. I love it. But Walt is 2, and he wants to be like Harvey. He wants to go potty. And anyways, so we're in the in-between stage where he kind of thinks he can, but he's not. And so lately this week, it's just been a whole lot of accidents, and that's hard.
Yeah.
On top of everything else.
Poor
to clean
guy.
up that. Yeah, but he's so cute. It's
Yeah.
just learning, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's a cute
I
rant.
could do with one less poop on the ground. That's all.
We could probably
that's
all.
why I love being the uncle.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a random little rant, and this actually hasn't happened a lot recently, but I just thought about it. My rant is when your roommates lock the door at night in Provo, Utah. Like, there's so many times that I'll get home at like 2 or something like that, and I'm already like so tired or something, and I just want to get to bed, and then the door's locked. And my doors, there's like a code that you have to put in, and like the code has been changed, and so I have to look at my phone and figure out the code. Anyway, it's really not that big of a deal, but it annoys me a lot in the moment. So just live on the edge a little bit. No one's gonna break in, I promise.
Or get home before 2 a.m.
Oh, okay. The way you sat up after that.
funny.
Well, fun. That was good. I'm glad we all got to get something off our chest.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I feel better now.
Good.
Good.
Okay, so we are going to talk about the Steele family's dynamic and how it's kind of changed after Hunter coming out as gay, and just how they've grown and maybe some of the harder things. So we'll go into it. I'm going to be kind of interviewing them and asking questions about their experiences. You guys can just feel free to chime in whenever you want. But I guess I was just going to start with Hunter kind of telling his LGBTQ story. So just kind of like explain like when you started coming out, what kind of stage of life you were in, and then you guys can kind of chime in on where you were at.
Love it. Yeah. So I didn't come out to anyone until I was 21. So just in the last couple years, actually 22. I was 22. Yeah. And yeah, my whole life it was just something that I kind of hid and tried to play off or suppress. I think growing up here in Utah, growing up in the church, and just like the pressure just kind of put me in a place where I kept really quiet about it. So it wasn't until after I had like gone on a mission for the church and got back and was going to school that I started to realize like, okay, no, this is real, and this is like, it's not something I can just push away. It's not going away. Like, this is actually just who I am. And that was like really hard for me, but it was really good for me to start slowly accepting that like, this is actually like genuinely to my core, just who I am and who I have always been. It took a while for me to work through like the shame of that. There should be no shame, but again, sometimes cultural pressure and expectations causes individuals to feel shame, and I definitely did. But it finally got to the point where I was just like so depressed actually that I reached out to my mom and I was like, I need to see a therapist. I'm so depressed. And she was like, yeah, of course, like set me an appointment. I had no intention of talking to my therapist about this, but I went to that appointment and met the guy, and as soon as I walked in, I knew that I would come out to him. And that was the first time I ever like uttered those words out loud, and it was such a special experience for me, such a healing experience. It was the beginning of a huge shift in my life of just acceptance and love and honesty and integrity and living within myself. And from there, I was able to tell my parents like that same week, and that was a beautiful experience. They were both so supportive and amazing. And so I guess since then, like for the next year, it was me like just slowly telling like close friends or other family members as I felt like I needed to, like as I felt like I was ready and that it was a good timing. And then I finally like came out publicly on social media. And at that point, there was a pretty big circle of people who knew, just my inner circle. But yeah, honestly, my experience has been amazing. I feel very lucky and blessed because of the support that I have. It's been challenging doing that all while navigating college and like all these big decisions and things we're supposed to be figuring out. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, it's been a beautiful experience for me.
So awesome, babe. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so now this is a question for Amie and Rylie. Okay, so what are some memorable moments that have made you better understand Hunter and just like the LGBTQ community in general? And Hunter, you can kind of answer this for yourself too. Like, how have you better been able to understand yourself or just like the community as a whole?
Good question, babe.
I think having a family member or a son, especially, like, you just see firsthand, you know that person so well already. And so when they tell you this, like, it's not, how how do I say it? It's so real, you know, and you know that it's not something they're making up. You know this person and you know what a good person he is. And so it's just kind of learning through him and his experiences. One specific experience that comes to mind that was hard was, you know, when he first told us his intentions, he says, I still want to marry a woman and I'm going to get married in the temple. And I remember at that time thinking, because this was just so new to me, and I was completely shocked, like I had no idea, no suspicion at all. And so I remember thinking, oh, good. Because in my mind, I was worried about how people would treat him, you know, what people would say to him. I was worried about that. Since that time, don't marry a woman. Anyway, but the experience I wanted to get to that was so heartbreaking for me was he was going on a blind date, and I remember he called my husband and I on the way, and he asked us to pray for him, and he was literally crying because he was having to put on this front and go on this date with this girl, and it just, because I know Hunter, I know that's real, and I know that's really how he felt. It was authentic. And so just kind of going through all this with him through the beginning when he was still dead set on he was going to marry a girl and get married in the temple to now where we are. And I'll contradict that with our trip to Hawaii with Jake and seeing Hunter so happy. I've never seen him so happy. I've never seen you in love in 25 years. And it was it just like made my heart so happy to see that. So.
Thanks, Mom. I love
That was
you.
so sweet. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, I would just second too. I've learned so much. Yeah, I've just learned so much. I've grown so much.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful.
Yes.
I'm so grateful. And it's been so hard and it's been a journey and a process. And so I acknowledge that. But I also am just so grateful for how much I've learned, how much more empathetic I am. And just everyone has a story. And I don't know. I've learned so much. So I'm grateful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love you. Thank
I
you.
love you.
Okay, I kind of just wanted to add what I have kind of learned just like while coming out, like in the last year or so, like what I've learned from just like the whole community. Because just like being raised in a very conservative environment, there was just never ever talk about like the positive side of like the LGBTQ community. It like growing up was always a more negative thing or like a sad thing. And just like meeting other gay couples or just like seeing other people on social media has been so awesome to just like see people be happy. Like now meeting Hunter, like we really are like happy and it can happen. So
Yes.
like I will tell anyone who's listening, like it will happen for you. Just like be yourself and you'll find the person that makes you happy. So
I agree, babe. Yeah, it's so true. Like, that's like the biggest evidence to me. I don't know, because a lot of us, especially here in Utah or within the church, are taught that like this is not just like, I don't know, or the picture is sometimes painted that it's not just something that's like not aligned with what God wants, but it's actually like sometimes painted as like a really evil bad thing. And like if you ever allowed yourself to actually like express the way that you feel and think, like that's like coming from the devil, or like it's just this evil influence. And I just like, I don't know, I know for a fact that's not true. And it's because, like Jake said, like we're living it, and I've been living it, and the way that I feel with Jake and just like you said, talking to other people, being around other couples in love that are happy, like it's nothing but joy, peace, love, like all the good feelings that a lot of times people who are religious like associate with God and with like truth. And all of those feelings are what I feel when I'm being authentic to myself. And so I would say that is something huge that I have learned, is that, wow, like, maybe not everything is I don't know. You really just have to experience things for yourself and see what feels right to you and what brings you those feelings of joy and peace, because that's why we're here. And so if this is what makes me happy, which it should, being myself, then that's what I'm going to do, you know?
Yeah, awesome.
Love it.
Love that, babe. You're amazing.
I love you. You
Okay.
are.
Okay, so this question is for you, Amie. Okay, as a mom, can you speak about the concerns or fears that you may have had with Hunter's identity, and how have you addressed them? So you kind of talked about that with
Yeah.
that one like date experience, but is there any others?
I think just in the culture and in the church growing up and living my whole life, like you have this ideal. And so having this kind of, it's like, well, what about eternal family, and what about your kids, and what about grandkids and all of that, you know? You just have these expectations in your head, and those kind of all got shattered. Not shattered, that's a pretty bold word, but I'm grateful.
No,
I'm
yeah.
grateful that that ideal mold, because honestly, how many of us really in our families, how many of us are that ideal mold? It would be boring if we were all the same, you know? It's just, so I'm so grateful that you have expanded my mind so much and expanded my heart so much. But so yeah, it's just, and I think it is a process. Like at the it took time to get to where I'm at now. You know, it's just processing that, because I think we've been so programmed that this is the way it is. You do this, you go on your mission, you come home, you get married, you have kids, and so it's just kind of going back and rethinking a lot of things.
Love it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. So this is a question for both of you, or all three of you. But how have you had to adapt to living with a gay son? So like with extended family, or Rylie with the kids, like how have you made it work so casually? Because like going and like being in your home, like it has been like a few years since Hunter came out, but it just seems so effortless and casual, where like I haven't seen that in other families that I've been around. So like what are things that you like implemented to make your family work as smoothly as it does?
For me, it feels like nothing's changed. You're Hunter, and I love Hunter. I don't need any changes. I mean, there's plenty of changes I could do and work on, but nothing needed change, because we are such a close family.
Yeah.
And so I never even thought, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a bad answer?
No, I agree. And I remember sitting with him when he had his coming out post written. He was getting ready to post it, and I think you were tearing up and just nervous. Mm-hmm. And I just said, Hunter, everybody that loves you now is going to love you still. The people that know you, the people that love you will still love you. Because I can't comprehend that changing because of what he told me. I can't. And I think it happens, which is so sad that does happen, but I can't imagine it. Like and I think that's been the case. I think the family's been really good, and extended family's been really good. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's little things I wish, like sometimes I feel like it's just not necessarily in our immediate family, but extended family, just not talked about. And I'm like, you know, it's okay to talk about it. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of maybe a little frustration, but.
Yeah. I would agree. I think, that's why I say I feel so lucky and so blessed, is like, I know so many people in the community don't have great experiences, and even ones who would consider their experiences good still do have like this like adjustment period. And I feel like the only thing that really was like the adjustment was just like the amount of times we would talk about it. Like for the first little bit after I just told like my parents initially, like everything was still great and the same, but we didn't like talk about it a whole lot. And I think that's pretty normal. Like, and it's probably hard for both people or both parties. Like as a parent, you're like, I don't really know like how to bring this up. It's so new to the parent, and like, is my son even comfortable talking about it? right? And then on the flip side, for me, it's kind of the similar thing. Like, well, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I also don't know how to just bring it up and be like, hey, so can we talk about me being gay? Like, you know, like.
Finally, you kind of did.
I did, yeah.
I remember where we were at. You and I were sitting in
were
the
we?
truck.
Oh.
We were buying that trailer, and Dad was out talking to him about the trailer, and me and Hunter were in the truck for quite a while. And he finally just said, you know, if you ever want to ask me any questions, you can.
Oh,
And that
cute.
just opened up the door to be able to have conversations. And I mean, we've had so many good conversations since then.
Yeah.
And I will say, so he told my husband and I, and it was probably a year later that you told your siblings, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was within that year. I told you in the fall. I told Dell right before he went on his mission in
yeah.
the spring, and then
Yes.
Ryan
And then
Spence
Rylie.
just after
But it was
that.
so hard, especially with Rylie, because we're really close, you know. I remember we'd be driving and something would come up, and it would have been like it would have been so easy to talk about it. So not being able to talk to her, you know, I think was really hard.
Yeah.
Because it is good, I think, to just have discussions and talk about it. And that's one of my big things is within our families, within our church, within our friends and neighbors, like talk about it. Like it's it's something that needs to be talked about more and become normalized,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Amen. Love.
You
Can I
guys are
say-
doing great at normalizing. Yes, Rylie, go.
Can I say one cute thing that I loved when you told us? And I don't know if this is the right time to bring that, but I remember sitting there. What were we doing? Come
Oh.
follow me, like as a family or something.
I think we were. I think we were. And I remember I
yeah.
got a text and I look at it and it's Hunter. And
We're all in the same
yeah, we're in
living
the same room.
Yeah.
And he says, "Did you say should I tell Ryan Spence or I think I'm going to tell Ryan Spence?"
Yeah.
But
Something like
remember,
that.
I had your phone, I think, or your iPad, or
Oh.
because I needed the verse or something.
Oh,
and then you were
yeah.
worried that I saw it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
that mom would respond, and then
That's
you'd
so
see
funny.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so we were sitting there, and then I remember you starting to tell us, and I just remember it's so tender. Spencer, my husband, just he was so sweet, and that was just so cool for me to see that because I know we're so close, and Spencer's so close with us, but just to see that was really special for me. Just he's like hugging you, I love you, Hunter. Just that was really special too.
Yeah.
That's
Among
so cool.
so many things.
Yes, I think every time as a parent or a sister or a family member you see someone react positive and
Oh, yeah.
give love and support, it just because I think we have the same reservations that you probably do, wondering how people react.
Yeah.
So it's just such a relief when people
Yes, I think we
react
talked
well.
about this when you were going to tell Grandma Linda. You're like, I think I need to, and I remember being in on that, like, okay, I think I'm going to go. And I was shaking. Like,
Yeah.
I was sick to my stomach. I'm like, I can't imagine being you because how are they going to react and what's going to happen? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, you guys have been that's the thing, like, that's just what I want to scream and shout to everyone listening and families is just like, it actually is kind of simple. Like, it is a really complex situation just because of culture and dynamics and all of this and what we're raised with. But at the end of the day, it's as simple as like you loving your child or brother or sister enough to set aside all the other fluff that is in your head about surrounding this issue and just say, I love you and I want to understand you. When you have an attitude, I feel like, of just trying to understand how do they feel, what is life like for them, what do they see and think, everything will change. So, yeah, just love your family and everyone else too.
That's awesome, babe. Okay, guys, that was so awesome. Thank you for sharing all of your beautiful thoughts. That was so good. I was like tearing up. Okay, so we wanted to go a little more lighthearted with the rest of the episode. Talk about some funny things. So for Rylie and Amie, and I guess we can answer too, but what have been some fun or like your favorite parts about having like a gay family member? like maybe like funny, like quirky things that Hunter does, or I don't know. Like I feel like there's lots of like stereotypical things.
Yeah,
that
I
are,
have
like,
one
so
that
funny.
could kind of, I should have done this for my rant. But it's
Actually,
funny.
just a negative thing.
So I,
Just outright homophobic. now.
anytime, no. After Hunter comes down to our house, the next morning I'll go in to get ready. And funny that half of my face products are missing.
She's trying to get ready.
You know,
and-
it's true. I'm like, where did I leave that? I never put it anywhere. I'm like, oh, Hunter came down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is true.
So there's
Hunter
a
has
little-
a treasure trove of like all his beauty
Skincare.
I
products.
probably
from
need
his
to go
mom.
through it and
Yes.
pick out which ones are mine.
No, I promise. I promise. I don't actually typically take them. I just use them and then I misplace them.
Yes, he doesn't
so then
put
you
them
don't.
back where they belong.
Yeah.
That's so
One
funny.
thing I love about Hunter, and I don't know if this is because you're gay, but just something, is that I feel like, well, now that you've met Jake, not as much, and it's good.
I'm like, what is she gonna say?
Just we talk every day. Like
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like we call it our daily check-in. Either I'll
Yeah.
call you or you call me, and we just talk. And
That is so cute.
I feel like a lot of times with a son, that's not the way it is, you know. And
Right.
so I love that.
I do too.
And I'm not mad at you, Jake, for
Sorry.
making that
And
not
I,
happen as
and
often.
I
I'm just
still
happy
feel
he's
like we
happy.
do a daily check-in.
Yes, yeah. At
Every
least a
other day.
text or
Yeah.
something. So I love that.
Fun.
Cute, Mom.
Okay, a few of my things. We watch home videos, like a lot. Like it's so fun. And so we go back and we're watching and we're laughing. We're crying, we're laughing. And so many times, like Dell, our other brother, and we just always say, how did we not know? Like, did you just see
Literally.
that dance move? Like, how did we not know?
He's wearing the princess dress and high heels.
How did
that
we
was
not
always
know?
me.
It was more the cape.
Yeah.
Stop.
He was just
No,
slaying
I've
from day
asked
one.
that question a million times because I was actually shocked that they were shocked when I
Yeah.
told them.
I had
Not
no
because
clue.
I don't feel like I'm super eccentric or like super. I don't know. I still consider myself to be masculine in many ways. I also think that whether you're gay or straight, you should embrace like all sorts of qualities and sides of you. And I hate that a lot of things are masculine and feminine, but that's a completely separate rant. But I was just kind of shocked. And especially watching the family home videos of me as a kid, I'm like, holy shit.
Well-
That was so obvious, like clear as day.
Well, now
that
it is.
boy
Looking
gay.
back,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It all
In
makes
hindsight,
sense.
yeah.
It does. It
I
truly
remember
does.
after you told me and Spencer, though, we went downstairs, like you left or da-da-da, and Spencer goes downstairs and he goes, like that's
Mind blown.
mind blown. He
That's
did
so
not
funny.
think anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. I do think I did a really good job. This is like, it's actually kind of sad, but like, I think I did a really good job of compensating and hiding it.
Yes.
And not just like hiding that, but like completely playing the part of being into girls and having stories and always having someone I was talking to and had some
Yeah.
you know, like I really tried to cover my bases and that was like so exhausting.
I can't imagine.
But
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say about this whole conversation, like the lighthearted things. Like, there's a lot of things you could argue, like, oh, if that is just because I'm gay or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, being able to be out as gay has allowed me to just feel more like myself and be more authentic. So whether a lot of these qualities are, like, because I'm gay or not, like, the fact that I can be out to my family and be myself around them, I feel like my whole personality just comes through.
Yes.
And so I do. It's just like so much more fun. Like ever since I came out, like life in general with my family, with friends is just more fun because I feel like I'm more myself.
Yes.
And I'm the funniest one in the family.
Well,
Anyway,
You are so funny.
You are funny.
thanks, babe.
Okay, any other things?
one silly thing, we went to the Hogle Zoo a few weeks ago. I don't know.
That's when I met Rylie and Amie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was our first
fun.
time meeting Jake. But I remember we ran into some friends Spencer and I. And I remember talking to this person, and she was like, "Oh, are these your two brothers?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is my brother and his boyfriend." And in that moment, though, I was just proud.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
proud
that's
to be
cute.
like,
That's
yeah,
so cute.
this is who he is, and I'm proud of it, and to tell other people. So that was
Yeah,
thanks
I was.
to Jake.
Oh, I was always so scared, like thinking, like a few years ago, me or whatever, like, oh, like I'm so scared to like have a boyfriend, or like even when I first met Hunter, like I was so scared, like walking around or whatever, like introducing him to people that I knew or whatever. But like when it actually happened, I was like, this is my boyfriend. Like, and it was so like fun to say that. It felt like so freeing
Yeah.
to just
So
like
cool.
be able to be with the person that I love and like tell everyone,
Yeah.
which sounds like a crazy thing to say because it's like obviously you should be with the person that you love
Right.
like proudly, but that's not how I felt for my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been so fun.
That's
It's been
so
so
fun.
cool.
it has been.
Okay.
So cute.
Oh, sorry.
Another little funny story. We recently went to Hawaii, so
As you all know.
if you didn't know, so it was the plane ride there, right? That
Oh,
okay. So
this is
our
so
seating arrangement. My husband and I were sitting together. Rylie and Spencer and the kids were behind them, and then Hunter and Jake were across from them, and then in front was our other son Presley, and he was sitting with just random people.
Yeah.
He was a good sport. But the lady he sat next to, they got talking, and I think they knew that we were all related because we were all kind of talking. And she's like, "So what's the family dynamic?" You know? And Presley's like, I knew what she was wanting to know. And he's like, "Oh, that's my mom and dad, and that's my sister and her husband." And she's like, "Oh, I know that, but what about those two?" And she's like, "Oh," or Presley says, "That's my brother and his boyfriend." And she's like, "Oh, that's wonderful." So she was really good about it. But it's just funny, I think. And I honestly love people that are, willing to ask those questions. I think a lot of people wouldn't. And she was
Yeah.
really good about it. And so I love that. But
It
it's
was
just kind of
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
What about those two?
What's the dynamic?
Yeah, that was funny. And we kind of like could hear her talking about like her and Presley talking about us. And
Yeah.
the whole time we were like, what is happening out there? It was cute.
Yeah.
It was cute. Yeah, there's so many great supportive people,
Yes.
and it makes being gay like actually like fun. Like
Yeah.
I'm to the point, and I actually have been for a little while, where I'm like, oh, I'm actually so happy. Like I actually would never change this.
Yes.
Like I just love who I am, and I love that it's different, and then there's people who can see value in the way that I live and recognize that there's no difference in how they treat me. I don't know. It's a really cool experience for all of the, just to be blunt, for all of the shit that you go through and experience as a young gay kid. You deserve that time when you just are proudly yourself and you see that there's people who see you for who you are and love you. And you should feel like a celebrity or like a rock star. Like you should own it and be so proud.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I'm like in that place.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have been so blessed, and that's one of the things I was so grateful before you came out publicly, because I knew you had a close circle of friends and few people that you came out to and who were just instrumental in helping you feel loved and valued and helping you through this whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've always been grateful for, is the good friends you've had in your life.
Me too. Love it.
Okay, so now I think we're pretty much done, unless you guys have anything else to add. But I just wanted to ask Rylie and Amie what their advice was for family members, or for people that are family members of like LGBTQ people, and
Yeah.
what you think they should know.
I love that. I think my advice, I have to start learning now. Start learning now. Listen to people's stories now. Don't wait for someone you know to come. Start now. If you know no one in your inner circle, start now. Listen to people's stories. They're real. Listen, and just, you will learn so much. And then when that time comes that someone is willing to open up to you, or I just feel like you're so much more prepared And you will, I don't know. I think it's just important to start now, not wait.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then listening to people's stories. I love podcasts and yeah. So those are my little.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
I
Love
love
it.
those, right? Those are so good. Okay, I think we've kind of talked about a lot of the things. I mean, the big thing is definitely love, you know. And I think creating relationships with your kids where they would feel comfortable coming to you with anything, whether that's they're gay or they've made a mistake or whatever it is. As parents, I think we need to create those relationships with our kids where they feel comfortable coming to us. And I'm grateful that Hunter felt comfortable. I wish he would have felt comfortable earlier, you know, but just creating that environment where your kids know that you will love them regardless, you know, of anything. So that would be one piece of advice. Another, just if you have the opportunity to go on this journey and have one of your kids that are gay, you're very lucky because it has been the most beautiful experience. And I've grown more through this experience than any experience in my life. Like my heart's expanded. I love bigger. I love more. I'm more empathetic. Just I could go on and on about all the things this has taught me. And so I'm so grateful for that. I remember, and this is just, I've learned to be patient with other people's views and things because not that I ever felt like I was anti-gay or anything. It's just kind of, anyway, but I remember when you would hear of someone that had a gay child, I remember thinking, oh, that would be really hard. You know, that would be so hard. And as Hunter, the same day he posted his coming out post, I had a post already about what it's like to be the mom of a gay son because I wanted people to know that it's beautiful. It has been amazing. Like, I would not change this for the world. It has taught me so much. And so just if you're blessed enough to go through this experience, just enjoy it and have patience with each other and just overall make sure that love is there and that trumps everything.
Amen.
Amen. That was
Mama.
so well said.
I'll get off my soapbox now.
It's beautiful.
Yes, you guys are seriously the best. Thank you so
thank
much for
you.
coming and sharing all of your wisdom. I can tell that you have made such a big impact on Hunter's life. So thank you for all that you have done
He's made
for
an
him.
impact on ours, for sure.
Yeah.
And we love you too.
Thank you, Jake.
I love you. Okay, well, I think that sums it up.
Yep. We love
Um,
you guys so much.
Yes. Come back again soon. Thanks for listening. Bye.
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 Bye.